Hello and welcome to From Impossible to Inevitable. I am your host, Megan Bauer. Thank you so much for joining me today on this episode. Today I have what I think is a timeless concept that I hope will be really useful to you as maybe you are embarking on your new goals for this year and kind of feeling like you are not sure what to do next. And it sounds really simple, and yet sometimes the actual application of it is difficult to do. So I want to give you some examples today that I hope will help you move forward. So here it is. Real simple, real easy. You ready? Show up. Just show up. Whatever it is, show up. And somehow there is magic in simply showing up. Most of the time when I come to record an episode, I have a really good idea of what I'm going to talk about, what I want to present to you. And most of the time I have stories that I want to tell, or I have a really good idea. Let's just say that. I have a really good idea of what I want to talk about. However, I have very recently gone through my whole morning routine, in which I usually almost always get an idea for the podcast. I went through the whole morning routine, came down to the studio, got my laptop set up, got the video set up, got the light set up, and I still didn't know what I was going to talk about. I'm like, okay, this is the day and the time I have set aside for the podcast. I have been thinking about things. I've been trying to come up with ideas. Nothing's felt quite right. And I don't know what to do now. So I'm here. Someone help me. And even though when I had that instance, I very literally stood in front of the camera like I'm standing now, and I was talking to myself like I am now. But I was saying things like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. What am I supposed to talk about today? What will be useful today? What do people need to hear? What can I contribute to the goodness of this world today? What can I do? And I'm saying things like this out loud over and over and over again, waiting for that inspiration to come. I essentially told the universe, okay, I don't have any ideas right now. And I'm willing, I am open and ready for whatever you have. I am going to show up. I'm going to get everything ready as if I have an idea. I'm going to show up and I'll await your inspiration. And then I'll go from there. And of course, I got an idea and it felt right. And it felt like, oh, this is perfect for right now. This is it. Let's go. So that's been with the podcast. It's been that way with my artwork as well. Last year, I set a goal to spend 2 hours on Illustrator working every single day. Now, when I started it, I had ideas and I would sit down and I would just get to work and, I'd pick up where I left off the last day and I would just move forward and it felt easy. And then I reached a day where I had completed the previous thing I had been working on and I didn't know what to do. I was like, I don't have any ideas right now. I don't have anything. I don't know. But I showed up at my computer. I got all of my things out. I opened up Illustrator. I opened up a new document and I just started doodling. I just started drawing and I started playing with colors and I started making shapes and I deleted a lot of it and I just started doing things until an idea finally came. And it wasn't very long into it, maybe 15, 20 minutes. I had been just like, doodling around, not really creating anything. But an idea came, it sparked, and then I was off. However, I showed up. The third situation, I hope, is extremely relatable to you. I really don't like it when this happens in my life, but it happens. It's, for me, the most dreaded question is, what's for dinner? I hate that question. I hate it so much. So we don't know what's for dinner. You show up in the kitchen, right? You start looking around. You start, okay, well, what do we have in the fridge? What do we have in the freezer? What do we have in the pantry? What's sounding good? You show up and you're open to suggestions. You're open to inspiration. You're just open. And somehow dinner is always served. It might not be amazing, but it's sustenance, right? It's getting the job done. Of course, you can plan for these things so that you don't end up being like, oh no, I don't know what to do. However, I don't feel like you can always plan for it. I feel like sometimes you are going to have a situation in which you don't know what to do next. You have a thing that you want to create, you want to produce, you want to do, and you're not sure what the next thing is. Show up anyway. Show up, set everything up, prepare as if you know what you're going to do. And if you have to just doodle until something comes to you, then do that. I once read a quote. I can't remember what author said it, but it was some very famous, very prolific author. I can't remember which one, but he talked about, somebody was like, what, do you always have inspiration? And he said, yes, it shows up every day at 7 p.m. because he has gotten himself trained and in the habit that when he sits down or 7 p.m., I probably meant 7 a.m. When he sits down at his desk to write at 7 a.m., he's there, he's ready, he gets to work. And maybe he's typing away and the first few sentences or the first few pages or whatever is just trash and it just goes in the trash or it's just deleted. But the inspiration comes, the good stuff comes. I have an art friend who I love very, very much. And sometimes she'll complain like, everything I have created today is crap. I've deleted it all. I've been working for 4 hours and I haven't kept anything. And I try to encourage her, that's okay. That's awesome. You showed up. You showed up for the work and the good ideas are going to come. They're bound to come. Sometimes you have to work through all the bad ideas. You have to work through all the crap in order to have the good ideas come through, in order to pave that way, clear the way for the good ideas to come in. The important thing is that we show up. We want everything that we do at every time to be the most amazing thing ever, and that's not how it works. With the podcast, I can't stress over every single episode being the most amazing thing anyone has ever heard ever. That's impossible. That's an impossible standard for me. However, I know that over the course of a year or more, the effort that I put into this, into trying to contribute to others' lives and trying to contribute to the goodness of the world, something's going to come of it at some point. I never aim for mediocrity for the podcast, but I don't put myself on an impossible standard of everything being the most groundbreaking thing ever. You're going to have heard some of these things before. You may not have heard some of these things before. Maybe it doesn't resonate with you sometimes, and that's okay. It's all okay. At some point, something that I say will make a difference to someone, and that matters because that person matters. If I make a difference by for just one person out of all of these episodes, that matters. So I'm encouraging you to show up, give it your best, knowing that your best will be good enough, and knowing that your best will continue to improve as you keep showing up. You might not have any inspiration, you might not have any ideas, you might not know what to do next. Show up anyway, be available, be ready, and give it your all. One more thing on that, when I say show up and be ready, I don't mean show up and then dink around on your phone. I don't mean show up and then make a phone call because you don't know what to do. So you're going to, chat with your bestie. I mean, show up and be available. When I worked on Illustrator and didn't know what I was creating next, I was on the program trying out things, just being a little silly because I didn't have any ideas, but I was there for it. I was present for it physically as well as mentally, and open for suggestions. So when you show up, be open for it, be ready for it, be present for it, and it will come. It will. It always does. It always comes for the podcast. It always comes for my artwork. It always comes at dinner time. Dang it. It always happens. Trust that it will happen. Trust that it will come. And if you have to work through bad ideas first, just get it out of the way. Work through those bad ideas with the faith that the good ideas will come. It'll all show up. It's all there for you. That's what I've got for you today. You are being taken care of. Everything you need is there for you. Just be open to it. Be ready for it. Be present for it. I wish you the best day. Until next time. Bye for now.